Okay, let's dive into an idea that really challenges how we might think about setting goals and, taking action.
Hmm.
What if the usual way of thinking about what's possible? What if it's just like dramatically wrong?
Yeah. What if small steps aren't the key?
Exactly. What if the real path to huge results is about thinking and acting on a scale that's like 10 times bigger?
That's the core, isn't it?
It is. And for this deep dive, we've been digging into excerpts from a summary of Grant Cardone's book, The 10X Rule.
Right.
So our mission today is really to unpack the main ideas presented there. This whole concept of setting targets like 10 times bigger than you ever thought you could hit.
And then the action part.
Yeah, and then backing that up with actions that are 10 times greater than you even figure are needed.
It's a lot. The approach in the source, it's all about forcing a pretty fundamental shift in how you think.
Trying to break people out of average outcomes. Yeah.
Exactly. Break out of mediocrity. Push past those, limiting beliefs that might hold you back. Think of this chat as a way to quickly get the essence of this, intense framework.
Okay, so let's start right at the core. What is this 10X rule really all about, fundamentally?
Well, at its simplest, the source presents it as a formula. 10x goals plus 10x actions. Pretty straightforward on the surface.
But there's more to it.
Oh, definitely. The real kicker is the shift it demands. It's not about looking at your current situation and figuring out, okay, what's realistic or what's maybe possible.
It flips that script completely.
Totally flips it. It makes you ask, what's actually necessary for me to achieve massive, truly massive success?
Okay.
And the material introduces this really provocative idea almost right away. It says success isn't just, a nice bonus.
It's presented more seriously than that.
Much more. It's framed as a duty, like a moral obligation you have to yourself, your family, your company, even society.
Wow, a duty.
Yeah, the argument goes, if you have the ability, the potential, then not going for huge success is basically a form of neglect.
That really ramps up the stakes, thinking of it as a duty. So, given that perspective, how does this framework view the typical ways people approach taking action?
Well, the source breaks action down into what it calls 4 degrees. Makes sense when you hear them.
Okay, what are they?
First, there's do nothing. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Just avoiding action.
Sure.
Then there's retreat. That's actually taking negative action, moving backward, often because of fear.
Right, pulling back.
Third degree is normal action.
Which sounds, well, normal, average.
Exactly. It's doing what's expected, doing enough to get by, maybe enough to not get fired, but not really pushing. And the source says this is where most people live.
And the fourth?
The fourth degree is massive action. This is about taking just an overwhelming amount of action, being everywhere, doing tons of stuff, all the time, consistently.
Okay, massive action.
And the core argument is only that massive action level can actually lead to those extraordinary 10x kind of results.
So normal action just keeps you normal.
By definition, yeah. It leads to average outcomes, which this whole framework basically positions as failure.
So average isn't just okay, it's actually bad in this view.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The book doesn't just say average is mediocre. It calls it a formula for failure when you think about your real potential.
That's harsh.
It is. But the point it makes is that society often conditions us to accept average, to think, that's good enough.
Right, don't stick your neck out.
Something like that. But this framework insists you have to consciously, actively reject that good enough mindset. Because average effort, the source claims, just traps you in average results,
Yeah.
which is way below what you're actually capable of.
Okay, so the engine driving this is success is a duty, reject average, and you need massive thinking and massive action. How does someone actually start putting this into practice? Where do you begin?
It starts with setting those 10x goals. The source really hammers this point. Most people dramatically, really dramatically, underestimate what they can achieve.
We aim too low.
Way too low, according to this. So by setting goals that are 10 times bigger than what you first think is even remotely possible, you're forced out of that small incremental thinking.
It forces you to think differently about how to get there.
Exactly. You have to start considering completely different strategies, different levels of effort, different resources. It breaks your old frames of reference.
And there's a benefit even though you don't quite hit that huge 10x number.
That's a key point in the material, yeah. Even if you aim for 10x and only get, say, 5x or maybe 7x, you're still going to blow past someone who set a normal safe goal and maybe hit 1x or 2x.
Right, the sheer scale of the ambition pulls more out of you.
Precisely. The target itself creates a higher baseline for performance.
Okay, so you've set this massive, almost scary goal. What about the plan? Does the source say you need a perfect detailed plan before you start?
This is where the massive action plan idea comes in, and it kind of flips the script on traditional planning.
How so?
It really prioritizes quantity and speed of action over getting the plan absolutely perfect first. The idea is get moving massively, immediately.
Don't wait.
Don't wait for the perfect strategy. Start taking huge amounts of action, see what happens, get the feedback, and then correct your course while you're moving.
Learn by doing, but on a huge scale.
Exactly. The sheer volume of action builds momentum and gives you real-world data way faster than sitting around trying to perfect a plan on paper.
Okay, I can see how that would stir up a lot of fear for people, just jumping in like that. How does this 10X framework talk about fear?
Yeah, this is one of the really counterintuitive parts from the source material. It suggests fear isn't a signal to stop or run away.
It's usually interpreted that way.
Right. But here, fear is reframed as an indicator, a sign that you're actually moving towards something significant, something important, maybe a necessary action you've been avoiding.
So fear points the way.
That's the idea. The material literally says something like, fear of doing something is the indicator you should do it. It's like a compass pointing toward your next big necessary step.
Wow. So the advice is to lean into the fear.
That's the perspective presented, yeah. Embrace it as a signal. And, when you start taking that kind of massive action, making waves, something else inevitably shows up.
Let me guess. Criticism.
You got it. The haters, as people say.
Right.
But again, this framework flips how you should view it. Criticism, negative attention. It's not seen as something bad to be avoided or something that means you failed.
How is it seen then?
It's reframed as a sign of success, a sign of impact. If people are criticizing you or paying negative attention, it means you're actually being noticed.
You're making enough noise to be heard.
Exactly. You're making a big enough impact that people are reacting. You're clearly not playing small or staying average anymore. It's proof you're doing something significant.
That's a powerful way to reframe negative feedback. Okay, so beyond the mindset shifts, what does the source say are the common limitations people need to get rid of to operate at this 10X level?
Well, the first big one the source tackles directly is excuses.
Yeah. We all have those sometimes.
And this framework is pretty blunt about them. It presents excuses as basically dishonest. Lies people tell themselves to dodge responsibility for their situation or their lack of results.
Like what? What examples?
Oh, the common ones cited are things like, I just don't have the time, or I'm too tired, or blaming the economy, the market, competitors, anything external.
So zero tolerance for excuses in the 10X world.
Pretty much. According to this approach, zero tolerance. A core idea mentioned is taking complete total responsibility for everything that happens in your life and your business. No blaming.
That's huge. Okay, what about time? Time management comes up a lot in success discussions. How's that viewed here?
The material definitely agrees that successful people value time like crazy,
Right.
often more than money itself. But the focus isn't just on being busy or efficient with small tasks.
Right.
It's about ruthlessly dedicating your time only to activities that directly push you toward your big 10X goals.
So cut out the fluff.
Totally. It strongly advises against distractions, against multitasking, which it often frames as inefficient, and against anything, really, that doesn't serve that massive action requirement. Every minute should count towards the big goal.
Makes sense. And there was another concept mentioned, one that society often looks down on, but that this framework sees as crucial. Obsession.
Yeah, obsession. This is another point that really challenges conventional wisdom. Most people think of obsession negatively, right? Like it's unhealthy or unbalanced.
Usually, yeah.
But the source argues the opposite for achieving greatness. It suggests that hitting 10X levels requires you to be obsessed with your mission, your goals.
Why is that?
The thinking is, if you're not truly obsessed, you probably won't have that relentless, burning drive needed to sustain massive action over the long haul, especially through difficulties. That level of success demands an all-consuming focus.
So embrace the obsession, don't shy away from it. Okay, let's shift to the strategies. What are the specific tactics presented in the source for actually winning with this 10X approach?
Okay, the first big principle is dominate, don't compete.
Dominate, not just compete better.
Exactly. The goal isn't just to be slightly better than the other players in your field. The idea is to generate so much value, so much activity, be so present that you essentially make the competition irrelevant to your customers.
You create your own league, basically.
That's the aim. Don't just fight for a slice of the existing pie. Create a whole new situation where you are the obvious dominant choice.
That's a bold strategy. What about navigating tough times, like recessions or market downturns?
Yeah.
What's the 10x move then?
This is another really counterintuitive one from a source. Expand always, never contract.
Expand when things are bad.
Yeah. While most people and businesses naturally panic, cut back, lay low, and contract their efforts during crises.
Which seems like the safe thing to do.
It seems safe, but the 10X approach argues this is precisely the moment to do the opposite. Expand, increase your activity, invest where others are pulling back. Take more risks, calculated ones.
Why? What's the logic?
Because when everyone else retreats, that's when opportunities open up. That's when bold action stands out even more. You can gain significant ground while others are scared or paralyzed.
Okay, seize the opportunity in chaos. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Speed seems important too.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Success loves speed. That's a direct quote often associated with this. Overthinking, procrastination, waiting for perfect conditions, these are presented as major killers.
Killers of what?
Momentum, opportunity. The strategy is act fast. Get moving now. This lets you get feedback faster, make mistakes faster, and therefore learn faster and adjust faster.
It builds on that massive action idea.
Exactly. The source even uses a kind of equation for it. Delay equals doubt, speed equals power. Don't let doubt creep in through delay. Build power through immediate action.
Get in motion, stay in motion. And the final strategy we should cover.
Go all in. This really speaks to the level of commitment required.
No half measures.
None. No just trying things out, no dipping your toe in the water, no dabbling on the side. It uses that classic analogy, burn the boats.
So there's no turning back.
Right. Eliminate the option of retreat. Fully commit yourself and your resources. The argument is that people who only dabble never build up enough energy or focus to achieve breakthrough success.
Right.
It's the people who fully immerse themselves, who go all in, that actually make it happen at that 10x level.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what we've really explored today from these source materials is this 10x rule. It's a framework demanding, well, dramatically bigger goals and way more action than seems normal.
Yeah, rooted in some pretty strong ideas.
Mm.
Success is a kind of duty, actively pushing back against just being average.
Embracing that massive action over waiting for perfection, leaning into things like fear and criticism instead of running from them.
Taking full responsibility, no excuses. Really valuing time for goal-focused work, and even seeing obsession as necessary, not negative.
And then those strategies. Aiming to dominate your space, not just compete.
Yeah.
Expanding when others contract, prioritizing speed, and just going all in.
It's definitely a perspective that, pushes against a lot of conventional thinking about potential, how much effort is needed, and what it really takes to get significant results. It's urging you to operate on a totally different level than what most consider realistic.
Which really brings us to the final thought this material kind of leaves you chewing on. If success is presented as a duty, and being average is seen as a formula for failure, where in your own life could be anything, a personal goal, your career, a business idea, where might you be underestimating what you're capable of?
Yeah.
Or where might you be taking just normal action when maybe, just maybe, massive action is what's actually needed to get the breakthrough you want? What could shifting your thinking and your action scale by 10x actually look like for you?